Welcome back to another episode of EDC with me, and today we have got a look at the new CRKT Minimalist Persian. I've got a few others out here too in the same minimalist line just to show as reference. This is a first impressions video. I received this yesterday. In the packaging, great boxes from CRKT. You've got some plastic. You've got an extra clip, very simple clip with just a pass through. Yeah, just a pass through for a belt. Pretty small belt actually. It's not too wide. You've also got the little bit of advertisement and the lanyard, which is a type of cord. Not sure if it's actually paracord, with an adjustment here. I generally switch any of my neck knives out to just a ball and chain type necklace. So yeah, let's get right into it. When I saw this launch, I was super excited, mainly because I have been using the traditional Minimalist. I've had this for 2-3 years now, and in the last year and a half, I've worn this pretty much every single day. It's great at the gym, or when you've got athletic shorts on, you still want to carry some type of utility blade, but you really don't have the pockets, or the weight of a folding knife isn't really convenient in a pocket. So this has been a great alternative. It's been a great backup blade. It's kind of a catch-all for small work. So super happy with the Minimalist. I don't have the cleaver or the tanto. This blade shape seems to be super practical. So this by far is the one I recommend most. I've also got the hawkbill or karambit style. I don't really wear this. It's interesting because it took me almost a year to get into the first Minimalist. So I don't know if this is going to change or if I'm going to find a real use for this, but it is a great task knife for precision cutting, especially box opening. I don't want to make this into a letter or package opener, but this type of blade is excellent for that. I initially got it as more of a self-defense style blade that's in a small package. It's probably still good for that task. At this moment, I'm a bit undecided. Jumping back to the Persian. This interested me a lot because it's essentially a larger neck knife in the Minimalist line. I mean, you can see here clearly we've got roughly a 1/2 inch difference, and that 1/2 inch is it's really belly of the blade, so it's an actual 1/2 inch difference in blade length. Handles are exactly the same. They feel exactly the same. I'm sure the whole line uses the same scales, I would guess. Initial thoughts on this: it's unfortunate, but and this could just be because it's a new product, the sheath it came with, the retention in it, I don't know if you noticed initially, but it's quite poor. Now, if this was something that sat on your side, or even cross, if it sat across like scout carry, the sheath wouldn't actually be bad. But the fact of the matter is, it's meant to sit like this on your neck. So gravity is pulling at it at all times. You can almost hear how it's not locking into place in the sheath very well. So unfortunately, I could make some modifications. I could tighten down one of these holes with a screw. That might help with some retention. I've had knives in the past where that's helped. Matter of fact, this does seem to help a bit. But in all reality, I really the profile of the blade is already a bit larger than the original Minimalist. And what I'm driving at there is when you're wearing a neck knife underneath a shirt, you want the profile to be as minimal as possible, no pun intended there. And this does a pretty good job of not going unnoticed underneath a t-shirt. This is a little bit harder to hide. It's even worse if I'm adding things to it to tighten the sheath down, because what's going to happen is there's basically going to be a bump. It's almost going to look like a third nipple or something if I add a screw here. And I'm not looking for that. This already does everything I want it to do. I'm very happy with this, the original Minimalist. So again, unfortunately, this will be going back. That said, in hand, this feels great. It definitely feels larger than the Minimalist, which obviously it is. The thumb ramp is excellent on here. It's a much more pronounced thumb ramp. You still have some of that jimping. The jimping's done very well. On the Minimalist, it's done very well. Also, the ramp isn't quite as pronounced. It's not necessarily needed since it's such a small blade. This does have a pretty sharp spine on the back. Kind of a catch-22 as far as using it for cutting tasks. It does feel very comfortable, but when you have to choke up at all, this does get pretty sharp. When I say it's a double-edged sword, it's because even though this is sharp, it's not as practical for choking up. It would make for an excellent strike point for a fire starter, or for a ferrocerium rod. So if you're in the situation where you wanted to create a mini survival type knife package, or if you've got a small go bag or fanny pack or whatever it might be, this would fit into a small space, give you some good functionality from fire starting to filleting. This is a great shape for like a fillet knife, or even if you're into deer hunting and you've got different fillet knives, I would imagine this would work quite well. So it definitely has a lot of application. Again, very comfortable, great size, as you can see the comparison here. It just really comes down to this sheath. This could be just because it's a first run. I know that this is a brand new knife, so this could just be some manufacturing woes, and maybe they'll address it later on. I can't help but think maybe this cutout here is causing the issue. We don't have a cutout here, which is kind of strange because it's nice to have a thumb ramp when deploying from the neck position. So you can see here on the original, I can push off of that. With the Persian, they've made the decision to cut this out. You can still push off of it, of course. Arguably, it probably puts your hand in a better position. But I think because they've done this, they've exposed a decent amount of what normally would have been retention. And that unfortunately causes a very weak retention. And yeah, that's kind of my conclusion. Again, the blade feels great, feels good in hand. If you've got a stationary placement for it, like in a go bag or fanny pack, if it's going to sit in an upright position, you're probably going to be just fine. But if this is meant to be a neck knife, which I believe it to be, especially since, I mean, they're giving you the cordage right in the box, I would say the sheath, unfortunately, is the weak point. All that said, if you have a utility need that makes sense for a little bit larger version of the Minimalist, I would say this is a good option, especially when it comes to defleshing or processing any type of game. I think this is probably a great blade shape. And yeah, initial thoughts, Please like, please subscribe if you find this content to be helpful. I do my best to find a new product and get it out on video right away, since it's so difficult to get an opinion that isn't a manufacturer's opinion. And yeah, thanks for watching.